So now let's kind of go to the next level and let's look at some stems that we can import and play along and jam with and record ourselves playing. So I've downloaded off of TrueFire's website a jam pack for Chicago blues, all right? And it's called Good Luck, which is the name of our track here. It's in G major and it's 112 beats per minute. And this includes audio tracks that you can jam along with and a PDF lead sheet for the chord changes and things like that. You might be familiar with these jam packs already, but they're really great. And now I'm going to show you how to take that kind of to the next level and start recording yourself. So I've got these on the desktop that I've downloaded, and they're right here, Good Luck stems. And we've got a bass, click, cue, drums, mix, and piano. So I'm literally just going to drag these all into Luna, drag and drop, and they'll line up right there. Okay, and I've lined them all up at bar 1. And now we've got the main output at the bottom, and we can arrange these however we want. So for example, I could take the click, and I'm going to put that all the way at the top of the project. Vocal cues and count-ins, I'm going to put that under the click. And then I'm going to put the drums, bass, and piano next. And then the mix I'm going to leave at the bottom. Now the mix is just a reference mix of all the tracks together. So if we play this, we can hear that reference. So I've soloed just the mix. So there's our little jam tracks with the stems on the mix. So now I'm going to mute the mix and let's listen to all the individual stems. So we'll go back to the beginning.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3.
So there's all the individual stems. And as you can see, now that they are all channels inside our multi-track recording system in the computer, we can now mute and solo these as we want. Now, no matter what track is selected, off to the left, we get a traditional fader similar to what we looked at before with the guitar track. And if I hit Command plus, again, I can go back and we can set these levels and get everything sitting exactly where we want. So now that we have these, we can now pick up our guitar and play along with this track and record ourselves.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3.
So the setup I'm using now is I've got the guitar going through some of the pedals. I've got overdrive on, I have the Astro modulation machine on with a little bit of chorus brigade, and I have some of the reverb turned on. And I'm going direct into the Apollo, and before we go record, let's check our gain staging. So I've got some clipping happening, and I see that because the meters are red here and the meters were red down here on the Apollo. So what I need to do is turn the gain down a little bit. So that's a little bit better. I've got about -9, anywhere between -9, -6, somewhere in there. You can use the meters, which are right here, making sure you don't have any red clipping. And there's also meters on the Apollo Solo. After you've got your gain staging set exactly where you want, you've got your effects set to where you want, now we can get in and get ready to record. It's very simple. Simply turn on the record button. But inside Luna, using an Apollo, there's a really cool feature called the ARM mode. And up here in the transport, in the global section, we can hit this little target button to turn that on. And you can see the record button also turns into a little target button. That means that ARM mode is on. ARM mode is accelerated real-time monitoring. That just means you're using the lowest possible latency, and it's near zero latency. And if you remember from our terms, latency is the time it takes a signal to go through the entire recording system. So we've got the guitar signal running through the pedals, going into our interface, the interface is converting it into digital stream that's going to the hard drive, being recorded, and simultaneously being played back so that we can hear it through our monitors. I've got my monitors turned on so that I can turn it up louder in here. We're not using the microphone anymore off the amp, we're going direct, and it's just a lot more fun to jam along through the speakers, so I don't need headphones anymore this time. But that gets us ready to record, and once that's all set up, we can simply hit the record button, hit play, and record that little lick.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3.
So that's a little rundown, made some little flub mistakes in there, but we've got that take already recorded. And what we can do is now take a look, let me turn this down, now take a look at this little take that we recorded. So to hear it, we're going to turn off record and we're going to turn off the input listen, and now we can play this back.
1, 2, 3.
So there's that part, and we can listen to the beginning. You hear those little pick noises there when this is in solo. We can show you how easy this is to start even editing this. If we put the mouse in the lower left-hand corner, we can drag this take that we just did. We can drag the start of it to the right. That's going to clean that up a little bit.
2, 3.
So that's going through and using the pedals. So that is the first way that we can just now record any part we want along with the jam tracks. So I'm going to mute this and show another way that we can record. And I'm going to go to my guitar track and I want to create the same thing. We've already got the signal flow set up and everything. I'm going to hit, if you come down here and hit Control, you can do duplicate without content. And that just creates the exact same track settings as above, and it doesn't copy down the content, meaning the take we just did, because I want to record a new take. And this time, I'm going to turn off the pedals. And now when we turn on the input listen and record, now we can listen to this. That's a clean tone. We're going to come over to the mixer, onto this new guitar track that we have, and now I want to show you the power of the Unison pre's. So the Unison pre's are accessible over in the mixer up in this top section where it says Unison. So here we can hit the plus and it opens up our navigation for adding various plugins. So we can come down and I want to add the Marshall Plexi Classic. So when I click that, it opens up the Marshall amp cabinet plugin. So now we're running signal through this plugin utilizing the Unison pre's. We can hit the presets, and when we hit presets over here, the presets come and they're right along the left here. So this nasty growl is kind of a cool little lead sound, and we've got all the knobs right here as if you would have on the cabinet, and we even have a little mic emulation over here that has a little graphic of some tape where someone put a 57. That's actually virtually the same mic as we were using, the SM58, same dynamic type of microphone, also called a Shure SM57. So we've got that here. We can adjust the mic input and we can listen to this tone. So there's the initial tone, and now we can tweak this. We can turn the bass down a little bit, maybe turn the mids up. I think it's funny, this little knob is like it's broken. So very cool graphic interface here. So I'll turn the bass down, turn the volume up a little bit, and get some settings. And then we can close this, go back to our recording here, and now we can record utilizing the Marshall Plexi Classic with this preset.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3.
So we've got that lick taken now, okay? And it was a little bit hot. You always got to remember to adjust your gain staging. It was a little bit hot on that recording, and I saw a little red clipping here. We can play this back and listen. So a little bit of clipping, different gain staging. So we may want to come in and we can simply click this, delete it. I want to leave my guitar up. All right, so our choices would be to come in here, turn down the preamp a little bit, and we can also come over and maybe pull down the microphone here a little bit. Just resetting a little bit of that gain. So hit it real hard. Doesn't seem like we're clipping anymore, and we can try that again.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3.
So there's the recording using the Unison preamps in the Marshall Plexi Classic. And what's really cool is, again, this is no different as if we were using my amp and my microphone, different tone of course, but now when we come in and turn off record and turn off the input, okay, we can see the Marshall Plexi Classic right here. That's the one we used. When we turn off the recording, it takes it away. All right, that saves computer resources, and that tone is printed, or that tone is recorded on this audio take. So it's literally like we were running it through a real amp going into the system as if it was outboard. So that's really cool about the Unison preamps. So I'm going to show you one other way to record with plugins. And what we can do is, we duplicated the track before. Now if I duplicate it again and I hit record enable, notice that this track I just created, it pulls back up the Unison pre. So it copies it from the track before when we were using the Unison pre's. So I can simply come up here, hit the 3 dots and remove this. And we can also add tracks over here to the left without doing the duplicate. Either way, I've created a new track now. I want to unmute it. It's record armed. And now I'm going to come down to the inserts and I'm going to search for Marshall. I'm going to add the Marshall Plexi Classic again as a plugin on the insert. And I'm going to pull the Nasty Growl preset, do the same thing. Pull the bass down a little bit. All right, check the volume, check my gain. So we seem to be good there. Come back over, and I'm going to record it one more time.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3.
So there's the take using the plugins, and if I turn off record, I still have the plugin on the insert, but you can also notice the waveform, which is the visual view of the recording, is much smaller. And if I solo the one we just did and play it, sounds just like the one above it with that Marshall plugin. The difference is I can bypass or disable this by hitting the 3 dots, or you can open up the plugin and simply turn it off. And now if we listen, that's the clean tone. So what this does is this gives us the ability to come in after the recording and change the tone. So let's say we wanted to try a different preset after I've recorded. I can play this back. And you can now audition, change the tone, and make that decision later, but at least you've got your recorded part. So that's utilizing the inserts, which is another very cool way to record your parts. So we looked at these three methods. We went through the guitar, through the pedals, getting the tone we wanted from the pedals, direct into the interface. Then we looked at the Unison pre's, which is just like using outboard gear. It actually records it as a part of the signal using that zero low latency mode. And then we looked at inserts using those plugins and those same emulations, giving us the ability to change the tone later on and play with the presets after we've recorded the take that we want.